up, everybody? Episode 39 here. It's been a busy couple days, and more importantly, we got some progress done, and we got a shipment of tubing sitting over there. So, we finally got a big pile of tubing to actually start making some bars. I still got 2 more days before my dies show up. I'm anxiously refreshing the tracking number every day. JMR's in Cali, I'm in Michigan. It takes a minute to get here, unfortunately. But man, they shipped it out quick and their customer service was out of this world. Yesterday, I went and picked up some tubing. So what I got is 1, 2, 3 pieces of 1 5/8 083 chromoly, 13 foot long. I got this section here, which I believe was, I think 9 feet. That was 9 feet. And then these two were 7 feet or 7.5 or something like that. These ones were 8.5. I don't know. I think I'm actually wrong now. Hold on. This one's like 7. I don't know. They're different lengths. This one's 3, but these 3 here are 1.5 083. So 1.5 083, which is a little thicker than what I have to run. I think the minimum on that one was 065. And then I'm actually going to get the book out because we're going to talk about what some of these bars are going to be for. So the minimum for the 1.5 is 065, I believe. Wow, I actually opened up the first page. So 1.5 065. These are 1.5 083. And then 1 5/8 083. And basically what we got is a 13-foot section for the number 10 main hoop. 2 more 13-foot sections for the bars that go from the main hoop down to the floorboard up front. So 13, 13, 13. Now, obviously, they're probably not going to take the whole 13 foot. I measured the doors at like 11.5-ish, just like adding up some rough numbers, and I measured the main hoop bar at like 12 or something like that. So basically I got them like a foot longer. I only got a minivan and I don't have anything to carry full 20-foot sticks, and shipping's ridiculous. My buddy over at Team Z, also Motor City Metal Fab, they were able to give me a good deal on some tubing. So big shout out to those guys. If you own a Mustang, Focus, ST, RS, or I think a variety of other vehicles, or if you need powder coating services, fabrication services, laser cutting, water jetting, etc., hit those guys up. Team Z, Motor City Metal Fab, those guys are awesome. They are local to me and they really helped me out with this tubing. So big shout out to those guys. The 1.5 bars are for the center 2As. And then the shorter 1 5/8 bars are for my 7As. And then I think that's about all I got. So I'm actually going to go pick up another stick of 1.5 because I ordered the wrong amount, because I want my 15 and my 18 stuff as well, and my main funny car hoop stuff for back here. So really what I want to do is I want to build this out, and then I want to start getting the tubes in here for the floorboard assembly. So I want to start the floorboard and I want to start my main hoop assembly. Get the seat in there, get it located, and figure all that stuff out. So really I'm just going to start with the main hoop. Probably the number 15 bar, and then start with some of the floorboard stuff. One thing we haven't talked about, and I've decided recently, is I'm going to make this a full tube chassis. Initially, I talked about leaving the OEM front end on there, and I've dwelled on that since I had that idea, just because if it comes down hard, I'm going to be possibly breaking some of the OEM steel if it comes down off of a wheelie or if anything happens. Also, I'll have to clean and weld up basically all the seams for the front end, the OEM front end material. With it being wrecked on the one side and everything else going on, and me already having to like add steel for the K-member and do a bunch of fab work to get the K-member in there, I honestly think it's less work to just make it a tube front end as well. So the center bars, these center 2A bars are going to go all the way to the front end of the car. So they're going to come clear out to the front end of the car. And basically what I'm going to do is cut the rest of the firewall out, the shock towers, the wheel wells, this front assembly, all this stuff. I will jig this in place. So I will come up and jig this in place so that I have these locating holes to build off of. And then this portion right here that holds the fender on, I'll leave on. So there'll just be like a sheet metal section right here that kind of holds the front fenders on. But all of this, there'll be tubes coming through here, square tube that the K-member will bolt to, and all that. So it'll be a full roller chassis. So the 25-2 that I'm building will now be a full roller. I'm just going to get rid of that OEM front end stuff. I will make the 25-2 firewall that I was going to make anyways. I'm going to make it adapt to the body basically so that I can take the body off and replace it if I ever needed to. And in doing this way as well, it will make the body easier to replace. I won't have to reincorporate, refabricate the whole front end, stuff like that. If I just scrape the wall, or if I go sideways and scrape the wall to replace the body, if I did it originally with the OEM front, it'd be a ton of fabrication to put a new Mustang front end on a new Civic body. Whereas this way, it'll be a full roller chassis. I'll just lift the back of the body off, you know, basically here back, lift it off and put a new one on. It's going to be the better way to go. So what you'll see in the upcoming videos is me cutting all this stuff out. So all this will get cut out. All that front end stuff will get cut out. And then I'll start laying those bars all the way up front. So I'm probably going to have to pull the engine and trans back out, or at least set it on the ground and slide it back out of my way. Get all that stuff cut out. Get the engine and trans back in place. Get some tubing ran, because there's going to have to be tubes that come off of the frame rail up here towards the trans a little bit. So there'll be some tube there and some tube there. And then those forward bars will be welded to it. So the next thing, as you can see, we don't have tires in the back of the car, and we have some mock-up 4-link bars. So the tire jigs, or the axle stands, are off. So now that we got the axle floating, I can basically turn this little scissor jack here. I can turn this little scissor jack and raise and lower the axle where I want it. So the axle is sitting on its 4-link in the center of the car. So now I know, and you can see the trans right down the center there. So now I know that the axle is centered to the trans. I can measure all that stuff. From up here, you can see, I don't think I got the actual axle shaft sitting in the right spot, but these 4-link bars, this upper one ended up being 12.5 and then 18.25. So that's just kind of where it's at right now with the square. And basically what I did is I left it where it was at on the stands, and then I just pulled some measurements and then made this square tube, which is just 3/4 inch square tube, that right distance. So these things are all bolted together, chilling here. I can raise and lower the axle now. Everything's still 90 degrees too. So this is 90, and then the back of the shock mount's 90. This is 90. So all of that's still nice and straight, which is how we wanted it. This axle's sitting nice and level. Trans will be sitting level. Should be a nice straight shot all the way back for the drive shaft. You can see here that, you know, your yoke and drive shaft will be right through the middle of that opening, giving me ample room to go up and down. Yeah, pretty happy with it. These are the stock Explorer axles. And then I had a buddy of mine 3D print some pucks. So I just cut the stock axles, and I got some 3D printed pucks in there. And I'm just going to put some hose clamps on it. Some hose clamps here, some hose clamps out there, so that I get the that brake rotor spacing correct. And then I'll put the wheels on them. So the wheels will now be floating as well. So I can basically get rid of the tire stand now. So I'll be able to cut that out of the way, so no longer be in my way. And I'll be able to put the wheels and tires on the axle, and then the scissor jack, I'm just gonna put on like a jack stand or something, and I'll just be able to go up and down with it if I need to and adjust it. And that will help me give me room to do the wheel well and the rear suspension and stuff like that once these tubes are out of the way. It'll make the tires easier to come on and off. I'll also be able to figure out like how low I can droop the axle to check to see if I can get the tires on and off. If you remember, the tires are so far up into the car, I'm gonna have to unbolt the shocks, let the axle drop down so that I can get the tires off at the drag and drive events. So, cause I'll have to put street tires on it. So that'll be a thing. I'll have to make sure that I can clear my wheel well and bumper and everything. So I'll check that droop, let it droop down, double check that I can get that tire out. We're making progress, guys. I really appreciate everybody following along. We're almost at 300 subscribers. Really appreciate everybody. We've had a little spike of new people in the last week, and I appreciate it. New people trickle in every day, and I just appreciate everybody watching. And I hope you guys learned something along the journey. I've said this before, each of my videos are just little steps here and there, little steps. And I want you to guys see every little step. There may be 1,000 videos when we're done, but at the end of those 1,000 videos, if you've watched every single one of them, you will have seen every single little step that I've taken, the things that I've changed, why I changed them. Oh, did I do that wrong? And then I go back, right? So you're going to see the mistakes, you're going to see the good, you're going to see the bad. So far, we got a lot of good going on back here. This Tin Soldier low prep setup is going to be the foundation for this whole car. I've talked about the #1 bar being important. This suspension geometry is super important. This is going to be the foundation of making sure whatever power plant I do, horsepower wise, it's going to be the K24, but whatever horsepower I go with, whatever converter, all that stuff, this right here is the key to making it go down the track. I'm super excited. I'm very happy with how this looks. This thing looks just absolutely ridiculous in this Civic, and I love it. I love every minute of it. I'm having a blast building this car. Again, thank you guys. It's been a long night. Can't wait to start bending up some of this tubing with you, get this tubing bender going. I'm probably gonna have to buy a tubing like sander to clean all this stuff, because previously I've just been doing it on my belt sander, but 13 foot on the belt sander, probably not a good idea. I may just do the old Scotch-Brite and brake clean. We'll see. I have to figure out something to clean that tubing, because I absolutely hate putting dirty tubing in a car. I like when it's all polished up and clean. Everything in this car needs to be nice and polished up and clean. This car is not being built for just going fast. It's not being built sloppy. There's things that I'm going to do budget, but when I can do something super nice, I'm going to do it super nice. So you guys have a good night. Thank you for watching.